Hey there, friendos! It's Avi from Musical.Engineering, and today I want to talk about the minor pentatonic scale, particularly how we can use some really quick and easy runs to make us sound super duper good. See you in there. Now, sorry guys, I'm actually in a different house than normal. You might have seen my background, my location change a couple of times over the last videos. I'm kind of bouncing around due to COVID, trying to find a nice place to quarantine. So, back to the topic. Soloing, not exactly the easiest thing to get the gist of, especially if you're a beginner. Now, every lead guitarist needs just a couple of runs that they can pull out of their guitar tool belt, whenever they need to. Also known as, I don't know what to play, so I'ma play this run. We're all guilty of it, don't deny it. First, we need to be super comfortable with and know how to play the minor pentatonic scale. Now, this scale is the bedrock of so many lead guitarists, and so many solos based in rock, blues, jazz, metal. The list really goes on. Think about it as the foundation of rock guitar playing, rock lead guitar playing. We're starting with our first finger over the 3rd fret. Now remember, this is a movable scale pattern. We can use this and move this starting from any fret we want, and that makes it incredibly versatile and incredibly useful. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, this first run that I want to go over is called 3 down, 1 back. It's called that because I am super unoriginal and it's really, really easy to remember. So we want to start at the top of the scale. That's going to be the 6th fret of the high E string. And we want to go down the scale 3 strings. So going down to the 3rd fret on the G string. Then you just go 1 back, so now we're going back to the 6th fret on the B string and going down 3 more, and then repeating that pattern until we get down to the last note of the scale, or the root on the low E string on the 3rd fret, that low G. So here's what it sounds like slowly. And here's what it sounds like quickly. Pretty cool, right? Now, this next one I like to call every other note. Because again, I'm super unoriginal. It's exactly what it sounds like. So you want to start at the top of the scale again, 6th fret on the high E string. And in this case, you want to bar down to the 6th fret on the B string, because if we're going every other note, the pentatonic scale only has 2 notes per string, right? So if we're going to skip a note, we need to go down a string, barred down from the 6th fret down to the 6th fret on the B string, and then we're going to go to the 3rd fret on the high E string. Then we're going to do the same thing, going from the 6th fret on the B string to the 5th fret on the G string, and we're just going to continue that pattern as it goes. So here's what it sounds like slowly. And here it is a little bit faster. This next one is called the slidey sloop, and it's one of my personal favorites because, well, it sounds all slidey and sloopy. I mean, come on. So on this one, we're actually going outside the scale a wee bit. Start in the same place as the last two, 6th fret on the high E string, except this time we're going to slide up to the 8th fret, then slide back down to the 6th fret and do a pull off to the 3rd fret. You can do the exact same thing on the B string and on the G string, but on the G string, you want to go and slide between the 5th and the 6th frets rather than the 6th and the 8th. Now, once you got to this point, you can just liquidate the run, in this case, which I mean by find a way to get to the root. Just get there somehow, and it sounds pretty great. Here's what it sounds like slowly. And here's how it sounds a little bit faster. This lick can also be played with bends and sounds just as dope doing so. Okay, next is what I call the downward bar sweep. In case you're wondering, yes, the slidey sloop is the best named lick on this video. I don't know what that says about me. You decide. Let me know in the comments. Now, this is another one of my personal favorites, and that's a reason why it's on this list. Now, it uses a slightly more advanced picking technique called a sweep, which is in the name. But don't worry, it's not as hard as you think, and I'm not going to go all Yngwie on you just yet. So, I want you to take your pinky and bar it across on the 6th fret on the high E, B, and G strings. I want you to do now some smooth, successive upstrokes, and finally end with a downstroke on the 5th fret of the G string. And then just like the last one, find your way back to the root, or the G in this case, on the 5th fret of the D string, however you want. So here's how it sounds slow. And here it is a little bit faster. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the single most popular and legendary lick in the pentatonic scale, and it's appropriately called the lick. Now, there's a couple of different variations of it, but the one I'm going to teach you involves a little bit of a sweep, kind of opposite of what we just did. Is this time it's a downward sweep instead of an upward sweep. First, bend the 5th fret of the G string by either a whole step or a half step. I personally prefer a half step because I think it adds just a little bit more color to the lick and to the sound. Now, as you're bending, use your first finger to bar the 3rd fret on the B and E strings and do successive downstrokes like we were talking about earlier, except this time we're going down instead of up. Use successive downstrokes to get to the high E string. Finish off this immensely popular lick with a pull-off going from the 6th fret down to the 3rd fret. I personally like to do a hammer-on as well onto the 6th fret before the pull-off. Now here's how it sounds slowly. And here it is a little bit faster. Now that's all for this video. Let me know what you thought by leaving a comment down below. Have you used any of these pentatonic licks before? Have you not? You know, soloing is essentially just writing a melody. And it's important to have tools like this in your tool belt, knowing some of these tropes that are really popular for the genre in order to get the most out of the music that you're writing. To that end, I have a special gift for you. I put together a free guide called 7 Ways to Write a More Effective Melody. In that free guide, I give you 7 techniques that you can use immediately to make your melodies more effective and more memorable. So just head on down to musical.engineering and let me know where I can send my free gift to you. Until next time, this is Avi.